In the beginning, he just wanted to understand the world. That's all. People. Secrets. The invisible connections between everything. He was searching for answers. But he found doors. Doors that were never meant to be opened. Now, he can't even silence the whispers of the galaxies. It's as if every star is screaming inside his mind. Every lost thought of a stranger on another continent. Every forgotten fear buried deep within a soul he never met. Every fragment of pain, of light, of shadow. All of it, echoing within him. Because when you ask for absolute knowledge, the universe doesn't respond with gentle words. It answers with madness. And madness never goes quiet. Rafael was not an ordinary man. He wasn't satisfied with what was told. He didn't accept shallow answers. While others moved on with their lives, he sank deeper into questions. Why do we exist? Who stands above all of this? What happens when our eyes close, for the last time? These questions wouldn't let him sleep. It started with philosophy, then religion, then science. But nothing quenched his thirst. Every answer only birthed an even greater doubt. And his mind no longer belonged to this world. Rafael didn't just want to understand reality. He wanted to cross through it, to see what lay behind the veil, to touch the infinite with his own hands. And in that desperate search, he found the Book of Silence. It wasn't sold. It wasn't shared. It had no author. It only appeared when someone was too ready to remain human. The grimoire was ancient, written in a language that shaped itself directly in the mind of the reader. Each page whispered, "You're close. All that's left is to accept." And at the end, a single sentence, "Total wisdom costs more than the soul itself." But Rafael didn't hesitate. He signed. With blood. With consciousness. With something he didn't even know he had? It doesn't matter. The moment his signature touched the final page, everything became clear. He saw the birth of the universe, the silent explosion that created all. He saw civilizations that existed before time. He felt God, or whatever comes before him. Rafael no longer knew where he ended and where the cosmos began. But the price started to collect. Fast. Too fast. On the first day there was silence. A silence so deep it felt like peace. But on the second day, the curse began. Rafael woke up to a faint buzzing. He thought it was normal. But it wasn't. They were thoughts that weren't his own. "I won't make it. I need to run." Does he know? Voices. Thousands. Of strangers. Of the living. Of the dead. Of people who didn't even know they were being heard. By the third day, it wasn't just thoughts. It was feelings. He felt the anxiety of a betrayed man on the other side of the planet. The guilt of a mother who abandoned her child. The rage of a killer ready to strike. Everything poured into him. No filter. No pause. No choice. And then, the crying. Cries that didn't come from earth. Children not yet born, crying for a future they never had. Crying for lives that would never exist. And Rafael heard each one as if they were right beside him. But it didn't stop there. He began to feel the fear of animals. The irrational panic of a gazelle about to be devoured. The silent scream of a cornered mouse. The invisible pain of a fish suffocating out of water. Even the despair of insects. Every crushed ant, every poisoned bee, every ignored cricket. And then, the worst, the loneliness of plants. A cold, still void. Roots stretching for years without touching anything. Leaves dying without ever being seen. All of this, inside the mind of one man. Rafael. The gift turned into a curse. Knowledge turned into torture. Consciousness, a prison. But what seemed unbearable was only the beginning. The following week, Rafael stopped hearing just Earth. Now he heard space. He heard stars dying. The sound wasn't like an explosion. It was like an ancient lament, a scream that crossed dimensions. Black holes whispered. They were like conscious entities, calling him, begging, laughing, crying. He heard extinct civilizations, screams frozen in time. Peoples who begged for help, even knowing no one would hear them. But Rafael listened, and each of those screams pierced his mind like burning needles. Time ceased to be a line. He no longer knew if it was 2025, the beginning of time, or the end of everything. Rafael began to exist everywhere, in every era. At once, he saw the future of mankind. He saw the last human dying alone, on a planet without air. He saw the first spark of consciousness arise in a microscopic being billions of years ago. He felt the pain of every birth, and the fear of every death. He became part of the universe. But the universe never asked permission to live inside him. Now he was an antenna, a bridge, an open vessel where everything poured in. Time, space, life, death. All mixed. All pulsating. No beginning. No end. No rest. Rafael's body was still there. But it was nothing more than an empty shell. A broken vessel, thrown into the wind of a storm only he could feel. He tried to scream. He screamed with all the strength he had left. But no one heard. No one could hear. Because Rafael was no longer just Rafael. He had become one with the universe. A fragment of the infinite carrying all voices, all thoughts, all pains. He knew everything. The past, the present, and the future. Every secret hidden in dark matter. Every sigh of a dying galaxy. Every tear shed for lives that never existed. And with all this knowledge came the worst curse. He would never be able to silence it. Never again. The silence, which once seemed a distant dream, was now an unreachable prison. His mind was an eternal whirlwind, a hurricane of information tearing through his sanity. He could not rest. He could not escape. He could not erase. It was as if time itself had condemned him to hear the sound of the universe until the end of time. Until not even he himself could exist anymore. And there, in the middle of it all, Rafael was lost. He lost himself. And the universe kept whispering. Some desires don't lead you to paradise. No, not at all. They throw you into a more subtle hell. A place where darkness doesn't come in flames, but in endless whispers, in voices that never fall silent. It's a hell where the torment isn't the lack of knowing, but the burden of knowing too much. Of carrying within yourself the silent scream of dead stars, the despair of lives that went unnoticed, the fear and pain of everything that exists, and everything that ceased to exist. It's the curse of a consciousness that finds no rest, where time is just a vicious circle of information and agony. You know everything, but you can do nothing. And it's in this abyss that Rafael got lost. Trapped forever, condemned to hear the universe, never able to close his eyes. If this story chills you, if it touches a part of you you didn't even know existed, leave a like. Subscribe for more dark and chilling tales, and comment down below. Would you be able to hear it all, forever?